Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my daily Q&A video for today. In this one, we're going to start with us giving our thoughts on a recent interview with Robert Kirkman about Shiva being CGI. And as usual, I'll put the link in the description to undeadwalking.com so you guys can go ahead and check it out, fan-sided. So it's an interview with Robert Kirkman where he kind of gives us the reason or the logic behind why they went with a CGI version of Shiva, that I'm going to give my thoughts. So the quote is that Gale pointed out that it's not particularly humane to have a live tiger on set, and is also very dangerous for the actors. So I was like, great, no real tiger. I can still come to set. That sounds awesome. Because I would not have gone to set if there had been a real tiger anywhere near set. So there's no real tiger involved. It's all magic. And then the second part says, we'll always be bringing characters from the comics. So we were reaching that point where Ezekiel is in the story. So it was just a natural progression. As we move through the storyline, we'll be bringing some characters in episodes, some characters later and stuff like that. But there will definitely be other characters that you can see this season and some surprises coming, I think. Right now, it's all about Ezekiel and Shiva as far as new characters go. And it was a pretty big reveal in the trailer. I expected to see it. A lot of us did, and we talked about that in the Q&As leading up to it, that we thought we would see Shiva, kind of roar. Just what we thought, just what we got to see is what I thought we would see. I was a little surprised that they didn't show almost anything with any of our survivors, but like we've been talking about, I mean, it's to keep it all under wraps as much as possible for most viewers. And it seems to be working for the most part, because the regular viewers, they really are still, everyone's kind of got someone set their own mind. Some people think it's Carl. I had someone tell me they're like, oh, Carl got the bad A. I'm like, I don't think so. So people still can't kind of figure it out, right? So I mean, there's no way to 100% for sure anyway, even with spoilers that have been released and actors shaving and whatever the case may be. You can't say for sure. But Shiva, getting to see Shiva and Ezekiel is definitely the highlight of the trailer, I want to say. And of course, they saved it for kind of the end of the trailer because it is really cool. So Gale and her, she of course has been involved with the series since the beginning as executive producer. She was one of the ones with Frank Darabont who started the whole show. She doesn't get enough press. Frank Darabont always gets quite a bit for creating The Walking Dead. But she was also, maybe she has as much to do with the series' success as anybody else, I'd almost have to say. So that's true that if they do bring in a real tiger, it is, it's fun for us to say at home, like, that's fine. Yeah, that'd be, I want a tiger, this kind of thing. But if you had to actually go there and there was like a real tiger, like if you see Shiva, the CGI, and the teeth on it like this, if there was a real tiger there, I don't know, man. I don't know, like a Bengal tiger. I don't know. Yeah, that is kind of scary, I guess, and it is true that it is dangerous no matter what. It's a tiger. It doesn't matter how well trained it is, well fed, whatever. If it's hot outside and that thing gets in a mood, maybe hormones or whatever, it gets pissed off, somebody could get hurt one way or another. So yeah, they went the safe route, which is to do the CGI CG. Some people think it looks awful. I think it looks fine, to be honest with you. To me, I mean, it looks fine. I don't think it looks, terrible. I think it looks decent enough. The downside of it is they probably won't have Shiva in as many scenes because each time they have to do a scene with Shiva, the tiger, they have to do the CGI and use the green and everything. And, so they won't be able, they probably won't have her walking around with Ezekiel all that much. If they had a real tiger, they could have Ezekiel, in each scene when he's going on runs or whatever, he could have Shiva with him, that kind of deal. So, which would be pretty cool to see a lot of the tiger around. Because it's CG, I'm expecting to not have as many scenes with Shiva in it. Maybe, in the first half, like maybe less than half the scenes Ezekiel will be in, I think, will probably have the tiger. The rest will probably be just him, on his own if he goes for runs and stuff or goes out to do things. He probably won't be able to bring her. So so that's a little bit of a downside. But when they're adapting the comic book series to the TV series, there's always these these considerations that come into play when it's being done in live action in real life versus just on the page. On the page, you can do anything you want. In real life, it in terms of your artist and whatever they can produce, but in real life, to have to manage those things, it brings definitely another element to it. So yeah. So write your comments below, guys. Let me know what you think about the interview and that, and their decision to go with the CG tiger versus a real one. So there it is. Next one's from Mauricio Salgado, and he says, "Hey Trev, after seeing the San Diego Comic-Con panel, do you think that Jeffrey Dean Morgan showing up and interacting with fans will affect the way the public sees Negan?" So I think so. I mean, you've had Norman Reedus, who for the longest time, and all the others involved too, Michael Cudlitz and everybody involved in the team. They do a really good job at the cons and everything, I think, of interacting with as many fans as they can. And I think that even right off the bat, Jeffrey Dean Morgan has done a good job going on Talking Dead and doing stuff like that. But I mean, of course, him playing the bad guy, he's going to have people looking at him like they dislike him for no reason right away, because of who he plays and who he's going to kill and everything like that. So that's normal. That just comes with the territory. But I think that people are smart enough to realize, oh, right, he's an actor who plays a bad guy. He's not actually a bad guy. So, yeah, but no, I don't think it will affect the way that they see him in the show. Norman Reedus on Ride and stuff like that, it hasn't really affected the way I see Daryl in Walking Dead. Not really, because you understand, it's like it's Daryl, okay, and then it's Norman outside of, and they're quite different, quite a bit different. So yeah, but I think it's good for the show. The more they do at cons and stuff, Walker Stalker cons and stuff like that. One day I'd like to go to one, but I'd have to fly and everything, take a plane and everything and do that. So maybe one day I will do that. I'll let you guys know if we end up doing that. Armin Ebed Dat says, "I wonder if Jesus is gay in the show like in the comics." And I would think so. I don't think that they changed his name, but rightfully so. It makes sense that they would change it. But I don't think they would change his sexual orientation, because that's a big thing. If someone's gay or not with regards to their relationships and who they're with and this kind of thing, it is a pretty big thing. So I think in the TV series version that they'll also have him be that way as well. Next one is from Aaron Gerber, and he says, "Do you think we'll see an entire episode dedicated to Dwight? Like after Daryl left the woods and all the way up to him killing Denise. That would help us sympathize with Dwight with what Negan has done to him." Great bid, Trev, from Aaron. So that was another video he left out. So I think we will see at least a point of view. I don't know if it's going to be a flashback entirely. That would be cool if they did. Or they could do a before the credits intro sequence with Dwight as part of like a point of view episode with him, where you've got Negan and he's burning his face with the iron as punishment for what he did in season 6. And then after that we can see like a point of view from him, maybe have Jesus tracking him or something like that, kind of sneaking in the truck or that kind of thing with the food, and maybe chasing after him. So someone left a comment about that, and I think that's a good insight, because it looks like they might keep that part pretty much verbatim from the comic books or adapt it very closely. In other words, I think we will see almost an entire episode with Dwight focus from the trailer and what you get to see. In the video, who is after Heath and Tara, Mike HTV said fillers after them, and a bunch of people thumbed that up, so that was funny. And that's true, but if you think about Tara, she's kind of, you could call her a filler yourself if you want to, like her as a character. She's a filler character. You could say Beth is also a filler character if you want to. But technically Merle is too, and Merle's awesome. So when we say filler, it doesn't necessarily mean it's garbage, but it just means that like it's something they've added into the TV series to space out the seasons and to add to it. And for the most part, Walking Dead filler has been good. There's a few parts here and there that haven't been that great, but for the most part, it's been on point. It's been good. Next one's from Marissa TWD21, and she says, "Why did Maggie name their son Herschel Jr. instead of Glenn Jr.? I never read the comic. I only know what Trev says, but I've heard. Why did she decide to name him after her dad? Does anyone know?" So it's never been like officially explained for us in either the Walking Dead comic book series, and I don't think Kirkman has said in an interview specifically why the name was chosen. But I would assume instead of Glenn Jr., sometimes I call baby Glenn. I do that sort of. Sometimes I try not to give everything away every time when I'm trying to speak, because I don't want to spoil everything, especially when it comes to comic book series, because I know a lot of you guys have seen the TV series, you haven't read the comic book series. So I try not to always give away everything. But with regards to that one, everybody pretty much knows at this point anyway, so whatever, it's out there. And for me, I would think probably she would choose that name because Glenn's death was brutal. It was brutal. Herschel's was bad too, and obviously she loved her dad and everything. But with Glenn, maybe she doesn't want a constant reminder, even though it looks exactly like him. Maybe she doesn't want a constant reminder of what happened to Glenn with Negan and everything. And she probably still hates Negan. She'd be a good character to kill Negan off if Kirkman ever wants to kill him off. Have her be the one to do it. I think that would make sense. Because she's a little bit more vicious than Rick in the Walking Dead comic books. Rick doesn't really want to kill anymore. Maggie, she is okay with killing. And I think that if anybody, she might want to kill Negan if anybody. So I think it mainly went with that name because she probably doesn't want a reminder of what happened with issue 100, Something to Fear. Negan bashing Glenn's head in with a bat in the comic book series. And we'll do like one or two more. Jessica Olsen said, what do you think about Dwight wearing Daryl's vest in the trailer? And Seth Lombard said, I think he's a scumbag. Dwight is a scumbag. Yeah, Dwight's absolutely a scumbag. I mean, he's also a traitor. He's not loyal. Daryl helps him and trusts him, and then he turns his back on him. So Dwight is absolutely 100% a sleaze, for sure. But why is he wearing Daryl's vest? Because it's weird to me why Dwight has a problem with Daryl. There doesn't seem to be a reason for it. Like, Daryl helped him, right? And then Dwight has kind of bested him a couple times. But, Dwight kind of hates Daryl for no reason. Like, there's no reason for him to not like Daryl or for him to pick on Daryl. And it almost seems like he's kind of bullying Daryl. And we've got some kind of spoiler rumors that maybe Daryl will be taken to the Sanctuary in Season 7. And I'm sure that would be Dwight's doing. So, yeah, it's going to be really hard to sympathize with Dwight for the things he does, especially if you're a fan of Daryl. If you hate Daryl, then okay, fine, because there are some people that for some reason just really don't like Daryl and want him to be killed off. So if you're one of those people, fine, sure. But yeah, Dwight he does take his stuff. He's taken the crossbow already. Maybe he doesn't use the crossbow anymore in Season 7 because, even though he could take it too, maybe because it kicks too much and he feels like it's not as effective. And you could say a crossbow against people, against zombies is good, and it's quiet against people, which is a good part of it. But guns are quite a bit quicker. I mean, you can shoot off a bunch of rounds, or you can fire a crossbow once, right? And then you've got to, it takes a bit. So definitely against people, guns are probably more effective. So that might be why he mostly uses guns, and he hasn't taken Daryl's crossbow as well. A lot of people have also asked, who is it sliding down? I can't, on the motorcycle in the trailer, I can't tell at all. I can't tell. I can't tell if it's Dwight. I can't tell if it's Daryl. I can't tell if it's a save or somebody else. You guys can write your comments below. I have no idea. And that'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. Keep sending me your questions. Still got lots left, so I'll add them to the list, and we'll get to them, as we get to them before we eventually run out in probably a couple weeks, 3 weeks, once we've talked about, exhausted mostly everything in the trailer. So write your comments below, send your questions below, and if you guys like the video, don't forget to thumb it up. You can also share and favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left is subscribe. That's it for today. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. As always, it's Trev, saying peace. Later, guys. See ya. You can share, you can favorite, you can subscribe. Hell, you're all going to be doing that.